Hi everyone, Cliff and Leo here from Imperium Empire.
Hey guys,
You're joining us live on Twitter Spaces. And how are you feeling today, Cliff?
feeling good, very busy. Basically, reading all of your comments about the pre-alpha and also discussing with our devs. So busy day.
For anyone wondering, actually, Cliff and I are literally sitting right beside each other during this broadcast while also controlling the simulcast. This is basically what you call a startup hustle. So today we're live on Twitter Spaces, but before we begin, we'd like to let everyone know that we're also broadcasting simultaneously on Facebook and YouTube, but our main source would be on Twitter Spaces. We highly suggest that you jump right in there and join us, and actually ask us directly there during the live Q&A session. However, we will try to accommodate some questions coming in from Facebook and YouTube. So let's get this ball rolling, shall we? We'll be talking everything pre-alpha game demo today. So get all your questions ready, and we'll start first with some updates on our end. Cliff, take it away.
Yep. So as you all know, we basically just launched our pre-alpha game demo to the select pre-alpha testers, and then we basically have sent out more than 1,000 pre-alpha invites, and we have adjusted carefully about our server capacity, so it's going to be able to handle more load as more testers going to be coming in. And again, we're going to thank you every tester who's enthusiastic about a project and sign up for the PA Alpha. So let me take this opportunity to explain more about the different components that you actually see and play in a Piava game demo. So for those of you who have tried the Piava game demo, you know that after you log in, you basically go into our hangar session where you're going to be selecting and customizing your spaceship. So at this moment of time, you can only select the different spaceship that you have in your wallet, and customization is yet to be available now. But in the future, you can already foresee that there are going to be loads of customization options for the spaceship. So say for example, you're going to be selecting different gears of the spaceship. Each spaceship is going to have different gear slots, and also the types of the gear slots is actually different for each spaceship model. And then of course, you would have seen the skins that we have developed for the Scooty with Avalanche as well as different project partners that we have. So in the future, you will also be able to customize the git skins of your spaceship. So that's everything that you can do in the hangar before you head out to space. So after customizing a spaceship, you head out to space. What you're gonna enter is actually land sector. So in the pre-alpha game demo, what you're playing inside is basically a sample land sector. So as we explained in the white paper, a land sector is going to be an NFT, and there will be different types and sizes of land sectors in our Imperium metaverse. So these different land sectors, they're actually strategically placed in different locations with different types and quantities of ores that you can mine on the land sectors. That it's also going to be sharing the revenue with the landowners. And on the side of the players, you will be able to occupy the land sectors in the combat zone or more zones. So for each of those land sectors that you occupy, you're basically going to be using different types of ores and resources to build infrastructure and buildings. So that's going to include repair facilities, refineries, stargates, and also other types of buildings that you can build as well as upgrade. That's going to benefit you as a player as well as your guild. And more importantly, all of these upgrades will actually be able to let you earn more by playing our game.
All right. Um, Actually, just to add to that, we just want to remind everyone that IME will play a huge role in our metaverse. IME is essential to upgrade your guild technology, ships, and more. Okay. We've gathered most of the most commonly asked questions, and we'll address them first before we open the floor to everyone. So, Cliff, first question. Will you include WASD as a control for option for the ship?
Well, this is actually an interesting feedback, because in the first place, maybe I'll just try to explain first why we're using mouse clicking control. Because our game essentially it's a third-person MMO real-time strategy game. So it's natural that for any kind of real-time strategy game that you play, you basically going to be controlling the units using mouse clicking rather than WASD. So if you see games like Age of Empires, StarCraft, every RTS game basically you do it use mouse clicking because it's actually more natural to do that. And if you imagine that we're gonna have a mobile version down the road, so these kind of control is actually what we envisage that we will use mouse clicking in the first place. And on the other hand, you see that WASD control is actually more commonplace for other genre of games like first-person shooter games or like driving games. So from the game development perspective, the movement logic that we have to do in terms of doing mouse clicking versus WASD control is actually entirely different. So in the mouse clicking control environment, we actually have the server calculate the shortest distance between the ships as well as the target location, and then you click on it, and the server is going to assign the movement to the ships based on that calculation. But if you do it using WASD option, the server going to receive the command from the player and directly assign the movement. So these are basically two different set of control systems. So what we feel is actually the mouse clicking option, and it's going to take us different. It's going to take us more resources, development resources, if we have to switch that. And more importantly, if you think about other control mechanics of our game, you see that actually mouse clicking option is more suitable, I would say. So think about two things. One is like the skill system. So once we enable the skill system, basically that's gonna have a temporary boost to your spaceship, whether that's gonna go into one direction or gonna power up your weapons. Once we enable that system, you will actually find it more natural to be using a mouse clicking system rather than the WASD one, because that type of control is going to be quite clunky, code to use together with the skill system. And on the other hand, the turn rate of the ship, if you use the WASD option, it's going to come to a pretty weird situation that you press the WASD, but you still have to wait for the ship to turn before it's going to start moving again. Because you know that for the different sizes of the ship, the turn rate of the ship is actually different. So the schoolie is going to turn faster. The larger ship, it's going to take a longer time for them to turn. So that's why in the current version of our game, WASD is actually not the best option to do. I understand that all of you guys actually want more control of your ships, but actually this can be solved through our skill system, combat targeting system, where in the future version of the game, you will also be able to select enemy targets rather than the auto targeting that you see in our game. So once all of these systems are online, you will have much more control about your ships, and the whole gameplay experience is going to be completely different. So that's why we still will have one open option. Is that in our future mobile version, we may be able to support like a joystick-based movement. So that's kind of similar to the WASD option. But our current development direction is to use a mouse clicking option first. And you definitely feel the differences when in the later version, once our skill system and combat targeting systems are online.
I'll probably take the second question, which is if it's possible to dodge or evade attacks. Actually, in our game demo, only attacks from towers can be dodged. Initially, we designed it to have bullet auto aiming because of two reasons. One, our game is an MMO game. Imagine large scale fights with more than 50 ships or with three or more weapons installed. There would be hundreds of bullets flying around. it's basically impossible to dodge every hit. Second, our game is an RTS game. Again, similar to Age of Empires or StarCraft. So the skills involved are supposed to be more focused on a macro and strategic level rather than micro and mechanical level. But we hear our community suggestions and we are looking into some options that will enable us to implement features that will allow players to dodge attacks. But this will potentially have some impact on our development timeline if we were to implement this feature. Cliff, maybe next question.
Yeah.
Is it possible to change the leading ship, and can I continue playing until the ships I'm piloting are destroyed?
Yeah. We also understand that this is one of the features that a lot of people in our community are looking for, and we're actually going to be implementing this feature in the later versions of our game. So once that is enabled, you'll basically be able to switch the leadership during the game, and in the case that your leadership is destroyed, then you can imagine that you will be able to switch the leadership to another ship, and that process is probably going to be done automatically. So you can continue to play the game until all the ships in your fleet are destroyed. But of course, given the current priorities of development resources, we are more focused on some game features like the skill systems that I mentioned, as well as the enemy targeting system that I mentioned. So these are more important to the core gameplay. So the leadership feature is actually something that we'll definitely do, but we'll see which version we're going to roll out this feature develop depending on the development timeline. So one last question, maybe Leo, should you take this one?
Yep.
Yeah, so the question is it possible to move by holding left click instead of clicking the left click over and over again?
Of course. This is a feature we're planning to add in future versions of our game. Also, we are developing the world map. So players can select a destination from the map and the fleets would travel to the target locations automatically. I guess we covered most of the general questions actually being asked by the community. Um, and we're now going to open the floor for anyone who has a question. We're prioritizing audio questions here on Twitter, and we'll be getting some from Facebook and YouTube as well. So, guys, ask away. Let's see. Anyone raise your hands? Anyone? Okay. Just request to maybe we answer some questions from um, Discord first. Will the ships be transferable? Uh, Cliff, want to take
Yep.
that?
Basically, now you can actually transfer, kind of sell your ships on the marketplace, and we'll also have options where you will able to kind of gift the ships to um, different, like you have different wallet address, or you will give it to a friend. So this is also going to be a feature that will come later.
Guys, please feel free to raise your hand and ask a question. We're taking in more question. One from YouTube. Um, can you make the environment fully 3D? As in, can we have the ability to move up the Z layer?
This is something that we thought about before, but given the current development timeline, it's not our priority for now, since our priority is actually to deliver the game with the kind of full features that will have different style of gameplay. Because as we explained before, mostly we're very focused on the strategic kind of skills that you will able to apply through playing our game, and the kind of 3D view is actually it doesn't have a lot of impact on this core gameplay loop that we have. So for now, we gotta prioritize having an in-depth gameplay different setup system first before we think about this one.
Okay, next question. When will the scholarship program happen?
Yeah, the scholarship program is gonna be coming sometime this year. So at this moment of time, we still aim to just deliver the game first. So yeah, but if there are any updates on that, we'll definitely let you guys know.
Another question from YouTube: will there be stealth ships?
Yeah, actually, there will be some kind of skills that will enable your ship to kind of temporarily have these cell capacity for a short period of time. So yeah, just wait for that. Wait for our skill system to finish.
Or all guys, remember we're taking in live questions as well here on Twitter. Anyone who has a question, just raise your hand or request. We'll accept you right away. But let me move forward while waiting on that. Um, are there still some Genesis scooties for sale? Unfortunately, nope. Done. Everything is all minted out. When is the mobile version in pre-alpha test? That is not in the roadmap for pre-alpha test.
Yeah, the
That's
pre-alpha test is currently only available on PC and Mac.
let's give some uh, priority on Twitter, guys. Please raise your hand, ask a question. Let's see. What's that? This question? Stealth and lurking skills. I think this one we would be discussing that a bit later down the line.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, guys. Anyone want to raise their hand here on Twitter while you have us live? More than happy to answer your question. Don't be shy. I see a lot of people typing in on Discord as well. We're here for your questions, guys. Come on. People are asking. Okay. Um, any questions? Oh, okay. Requested. Sure. Hi, Big D. Hey there.
Hi, sir.
Yes, hi. You have a question?
Yes, will be there be another sale of NFT chips rather than other than the Genesis?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. We're gonna have another batch that will come soon. So just wait for our announcements.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Um, guys, please just request. More than happy to answer. Um, okay, let me see.
And then we actually saw some question about staking of the NFT or staking of IME. We're actually working on the IME staking program. So we're still doing the smart contract design. So it's something that we will be able to offer more information maybe sometime towards the end of this month or next month.
We have the club guild as well. Let's wait for him. Hey, this is Leo and Cliff.
Hello, Leo and Cliff. Good to talk to you again. It's Lloyd from the club.
Hey, Lloyd.
Hi. Sounds great. It's looking good, looking great. I might have missed it, but what are the requirements for pre-alpha game invites?
Sorry, excuse me. Game invites. Oh, so basically, you just have to log in. Oh, of course, number one, you need to have one of our Genesis NFTs. You can get them at our marketplace at the moment. And then, of course, you have to apply for pre-alpha on your account on marketplace.imperiumempires.com. Just go to your account about and then start the application from there. And then wait for a few days as we're currently processing a lot of invites. And we're very worried about server load and capacity. We're very careful with that as well. We're monitoring that 24/7. Once we get more slots open, we're more than happy to let the next batch in.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And on that note, then on the server loading, how many players potentially can play all at once? Is that going to be an issue in the future?
I think with this one we're very careful. That's why for us we're monitoring how much server capacity we can hold for now. We're still estimating since this is pre-alpha,
Yeah.
and there's still a lot of things that we're looking at.
Yeah.
So
We're actually gonna be upgrading the server infrastructure that we are doing for the alpha version. So the pre-alpha version is just infrastructure that we use for testing purposes. But
Yeah.
for the data that we've seen so far, it's actually looking pretty good. So that's why we're pretty confident that we will be able to massively ramp up the player base that can be able to concurrently play our game in our alpha version.
Perfect. Okay. Well, thank you very much, and looking forward to it.
thank you so much.
Okay. Bye.
Oh, all right. Last two questions, I guess. Will there be any symbols or issues to recognize our team in game? Yeah, that's some sort of that is definitely coming a little bit.
Yeah,
and-
now you can actually see the blue dots, so that basically represent your team. But of course, in the future, when there are all these guild wars happening, you will be able to see distinguish between your guild members versus the enemy guilds.
And I think last question that we'll take is from Dave from YouTube. Will the requirements of PC specs be lowered when alpha is released?
Oh, that's actually a pretty good question. I think the current PC specs requirement are already pretty low because we've seen that quite a lot of people are actually able to play our game using maybe like 4 or 5 years old laptop or PC. But of course, we will continue to do more optimization, especially when we enable multiplayer in our alpha version, where you will be able to fight with enemy players. You're not only going to be seeing the NPCs or AI enemies. So we're going to be doing more optimization, and then you'll expect that in terms of the specs, it's actually not something that I'm too worried about.
All right. I guess that's all the time we have for questions for now. Some updates on our end as well, last minute things. We're announcing something big for our pre alpha testers tomorrow, 1 p.m. UTC time. And this coming weekend, we're dropping something big. So that's something to look forward to over the weekend. Again, thank you so much for joining us. This has been Leo and Cliff. Thanks, everyone. Have a wonderful day wherever you are. Good night.